Nice to see you again, Glenn. Thank you so much for coming for another coaching session. The topic, what was the thing that you wanted to bring today?
I'd like to get more clarity around my business niche
That's your business niche as a coach, right?
as a coach.
Okay, okay. And a new topic for you, or one that you've put hundreds of hours of thinking on, or what?
I wouldn't quite say hundreds of hours of thinking, but it's one that keeps coming up and keeps coming back and keeps getting refined. And yeah, it's always there.
Always there, bubbling away. So where are you on the like? I have got no clue to the. I'm nearly settled with it continuum.
Um, so if 0 was no idea and 10 was completely clear,
Yeah,
maybe 6.
yeah, six. And what does that six look like?
What do you mean? What does it look like?
Well, just an overview of what it looks like or sounds like.
It means that I have a niche, but I don't think it is, whilst it's one that gives me passion, there's passion behind it.
Mm,
It's not one, it's a very difficult niche to get any traction in as a business. Um, and I think that I could find a different niche that would um, give me joy and traction.
okay, okay. So the idea that the niche only responds to one of the two important needs for you, the personal one, as opposed to the
Yeah,
commercial one. Okay,
yeah.
okay. So where should we aim for? Where do you want to be by the end of today's conversation?
I I would love to have a clear idea of what my niche could be, how to articulate it.
So if it's a six at the moment, you want six and a half or nine and a half or
It would be good to be at least an 8.
okay, okay. So we're aiming for an eight.
So yeah, so then I can maybe just go away and on upcoming holiday, just have that percolating and maybe it does some more refining while I'm away.
Okay, okay. And taking that to the holiday, what would it mean to you taking like a sort of an eight, bit more clarity away from today?
It would allow me to have more focus in the my daily activities.
Okay, say a bit more about that. Is it getting in the way then somehow?
Um, Yeah, I think it is because I know the one that I've got is not necessarily working,
Yeah,
and yet without having clarity on what a new one could be, there's this sort of you keep getting pulled down different paths
yeah.
by ideas that come up.
Okay, okay. So there is sort of there's like overspilling impacts on
Yeah,
not having it. Okay, okay.
yeah.
And I mean, I know we had this coaching session planned, but why particularly now, like the niche topic is coming up for you?
Mainly because I've joined a business networking group and I feel like it's a really good opportunity to um, get some real traction. I can feel
Yeah.
that traction is potentially there. Um, but if I'm not clear about what I'm asking for, I can't expect the people in the room to understand what they might be helping me go and find.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So you want to be able to explain it well enough, clearly, so other people can then report it on and explain it well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. And apart from today and mulling it over when you're off on holiday with the family, how much energy have you got towards that you want to put into this?
Lots.
Lots. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Priority over other things that you're doing? Like where does that sit in the high, medium, low priority?
Um, I think it's pretty high priority because if I don't sort it out, then everything else, it's what triggers everything else. So everything else is kind of almost pointless if I'm not clear on it.
Okay. Okay. That's quite a strong statement, isn't it? Almost pointless.
Yeah, I think yeah, it is. But it's kind of like being a headless chicken, not knowing where to run, believing you've got like a whole ton of things to do. But
Yeah.
I really feel that I need to be headed in a very clear direction without distraction.
Okay. Okay. So from headless chicken to clear direction without distraction, right? Is that the 6 to 8 thing that you're talking about, moving from there to
Yeah,
there?
that makes it sound worse than that, but yeah,
All right,
yeah,
okay, okay. Well, it's very,
yeah.
very.
Not quite a headless chicken, but yeah,
Oh, we get the metaphor, don't we? Um,
yeah.
all right, Fab. So, um, do you know what you need to work on? I mean, today, do you know where's the area of focus for you that we can talk about?
I believe that, well, up till now, my niche has been more centered around women. There have been moments when it's been more women entrepreneurs,
Mm,
for example, but I feel like it needs to, the purchaser of coaching would have been maybe an individual.
mm.
And I feel like there's more potential in targeting business owners when where the business is 3, 4, 5+ people.
Okay, okay. So we're talking about the target market. Okay.
Yeah.
So would it help to just like from your perspective, like get a few basics just clear? So what you mean by a niche and what you see the benefit of a niche. I mean, there's a lot written about it, isn't there? Of course. So
Yeah, loads,
so
yeah.
so so how do you define a niche? What does that mean?
A niche is a very specific group of people
Yeah,
that you target your activities on.
yeah,
I think the best visual representation I've seen of that has been like a bullseye type graphic.
yeah,
And the idea being the more specific you can get on who you're targeting, the more people that have that need will naturally come towards you. Um, and then the other people that are in sort of outer rings will still come,
yeah.
but you're communicating very clearly on the need on how you meet the needs of that very specific niche.
Okay. So how you meet the needs of that niche. So
Yeah,
how does that sort of change like your messaging and how you present yourself if you're really clear on that?
it makes it much more powerful because it's probably getting to like a real more deep,
Yeah.
visceral feeling that somebody has to reach out.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So a bit more about that visceral feeling.
Um, just like a full body need that something has to change in somebody's life because they're feeling pain
Hmm.
and they know something's got to change, but they don't really know how to do it.
Okay. So when you say that, are you speaking to the sort of the personal needs more than you're speaking to, if you like, the business needs that you want the person to change and grow and overcome their challenges?
I think if it's more of a consumer market, then it's more of the personal needs.
Mm,
But when you're talking to a business, particularly a small business, there's probably a bit of a blurring. It's talking about the needs of the individual,
yeah.
and then the needs of them as a business owner and as a an employer of others.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So does this mean that when you really define your niche, that you will then tailor your services, your the coaching offer, whether it's one-to-one or group
Yeah.
and in what way would you do that?
So it would start with which sorts of companies it allows me to find and target,
Mm,
how I would start a conversation with them, what key points are coming up in the whole communication strategy, and then also in how I present the proposition,
mm,
and then also how that is priced as well. So it
yes.
basically it triggers the whole of the marketing strategy.
Okay. Okay. So you need to be really clear on it. And you talked about not having a niche, and the analogy used was a headless chicken one.
Yeah.
So let's just really sort of put that to bed. Like, is it your sort of your settled belief that unless you have a niche, you can't really evolve and grow? Um, and I ask that question. It's not a leading question, but I ask that question because there some coaches don't believe you need a niche. You know, it's one of those raging debates, isn't it? So, but where are you standing on it?
So, when I listen to a marketing expert or I read
Yeah,
a marketing book, they all say
yeah,
that you need to have a niche and you need to be specific. My experience so far is that I do question whether that is a need.
yeah,
For for example, if I think about conversations I've just had even today and in this past week,
yeah,
and I tell somebody what I can do and how I can take them from here to here through coaching.
yeah,
Today, the lady I was speaking to said, "Oh, so could you do that for couples?" And I'm like, well, yeah, you could. Yes, it would work very well for couples. And then it's like, well, yeah, and it would work really well for teenagers. And yes, it would work really well for a guy the other yesterday
yeah,
who's struggling at work and in relationship. So it would help him. So it's like it actually depending on who you're speaking to, there's always an application. It
yeah.
doesn't, which is why it bothers me that you have to say, I will only target um, solicitors in Tunbridge Wells.
Yes. So, let's pick up on that one word you just used, which was only.
Yeah.
But also the word target, because what you're talking here about, you're having these inbound meetings, right? You'll go to BNI wherever, and people will approach you, and or you'll meet people at the school gate or in business type of meetings. So, is it that you will only work with those people, or is it that you will only target those people?
It's the latter. I would only target and I would work with anybody
Yeah. Okay.
if they have a need and they can afford it
Yeah.
and they're willing to put the work in.
Okay. So I mean, and I'm a bit with you on the sort of the skeptical on the niche. My niche challenge is when someone looks at your niche message, which says I work with this group, and someone says, yeah, but I'm in that group. Uh, how will you work with me because you only work with that group? You know,
Yeah.
how can you sort of manage that without it making it sound like you're going to compromise?
Um, my answer to that sort of question is that I have a structure and a framework that I use as a coach.
Mm,
But there is no rigidity in that,
yeah,
and that every single human being on the planet is different and has had different experiences, and therefore you can't predict at the start of working with somebody how that is going to evolve. So
yes,
you can have some structure around it, but I think it's naive to think that it's not a factory production line. You have to be flexible and deal with, you could start a coaching relationship with somebody and in month one their issue is about work, and in month two they might suddenly have lost somebody or be in the middle of a divorce.
yeah.
So you don't say I'm going to carry on dealing with the work issue.
Okay, so you're demonstrating with your coaching skills that you've got flexibility and you've got
Yeah.
that type of approach. Okay, and still when they say yeah, but it's only women or small business owners who are women, and I'm not in that category. How do you? And they say how would you adapt your coaching, or even why wouldn't they just trot off to someone whose niche is them?
Say that again, please.
Sorry, yeah, it was not a very well phrased question. I'm not even quite sure what I was asking. No, I suppose what I'm wondering is, why if they know you niche with these people, why wouldn't people then just go and find someone else who is their niche?
Exactly. Which to me then just feels like pointless,
Yeah,
like a lost opportunity because
yeah,
the opportunities are hard enough to find.
yes. Okay. So you want to have a niche, right? But you don't want to reject other interested parties who don't fit in your criteria.
Yeah, and I think there's another element to it is that um marketeers talk about when you niche, they talk about a lot of socio-demographic. profiles.
Right.
And actually, the sort of coaching I like to do generally goes a little bit deeper than that and goes a bit more inside of why you might think that will be who you are. So it's more a feeling based thing rather than the not. So it's more about I will help you go from feeling stuck to feeling fulfilled,
Yeah.
rather than saying if you're 45 female with two teenagers, I will help you learn how to be a great parent.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So all right. So you're reading that the niche, how it's described is, yeah, what did you say? Socio-demographic. So it's like a category of person, but what you're saying is you see it more as a life state or an internal something like that. And
Yeah.
can that not equally be a niche? I work with people who are in this place who are looking for change, who are whatever.
I think it can, but then I hear people saying, "Oh, but that's not specific enough." How do you find those people?
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think?
Um, I don't know. The only way to find people is to keep talking to people.
Yeah. Yeah. And but what do you think about that? Is it specific enough?
Um, Potentially specific enough for a like B2C, I would call it a B2C approach, but
Yeah.
maybe not for a B2B approach.
Okay. Okay. And if you were going to take that out into a bit, as you say, a B2C type of environment, what is it that you'd be saying? How would you explain this sort of personal growth or overcoming stuckness?
That I help take you from being stuck to fulfilled, or learning how to have a better work-life balance, to go from, yeah, doing to being, slowing down to speed up, having more confidence.
So these things, right? They sort of trip off your tongue, don't they? Like, yeah, just do that, just do that. But you know how hard the work is, and you know actually how skillful a coach has to be to be
Yeah.
able to do that. So,
Yeah.
um, it, how like, tell me about your connection with that stuff that you've just shared, as in wanting to help people in that way. How important is it to you?
Very important,
Okay.
because because we live in a society where we believe that we have to do, go the
Yeah.
whole time to
Yeah.
prove ourselves, to prove that we're successful to other people. Um, and that's not a blame. That's
Yeah.
just the way that society's evolved. And it's not a sustainable way of living. And we believe that we have to keep working until we reach a point of burnout.
Yeah.
And it's well, I was going to say it's work. Maybe it's worse for women, but it's pretty bad for men as well. But women believe they have to have a successful career, be a great parent, and run a household. Well, each of those individual things can be a full-time job.
Yeah.
You can't. There's not enough hours in the day or enough energy in a human being
Yeah.
to do all three of those jobs well without sacrificing something somewhere.
Okay. So when you're saying this stuff, Claire, like how much emotion is behind this, right? And how much energy is behind what you're saying?
All the energy that I
Yeah.
have is behind it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've brought like a marketing question, haven't you, here? Of like, how do I get a niche? How can I present it when you're next week at BNI? But here, this is a really personal question for you, isn't it? How can I be like the authentic coach I want to be and support people with this real stuckness? So let's talk here about this paradox of trying to niche, but trying to be very, very personal.
Yeah.
This is it, isn't it? This is the stuck
Well,
list, isn't it?
yeah. So my my thoughts are that, well, people, when it comes down to it, people will only hear what they want to hear, and I can't control how they interpret what I
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
That I know to be true.
yeah,
I think that if the words I use connect with somebody at a deep enough level, it
yeah,
doesn't really matter who the niche is,
yeah,
because the words and how it makes somebody feel is more important than
yeah,
me saying I'm a coach for solicitors.
yes. Okay. So it's starting to sound like the niche is not about who you work with, but
No,
the niche is what people need, why they might want to do this work, where they're at, all of those type of things. So almost like any other of those questions apart from who.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So my question to you is, can that be a niche? Forget the who, but looking at the other words in the, the why and the when and the how and the what, can that be the niche?
I I believe I believe it. I believe it can. The challenge, I don't know, actually challenge, I'm not sure if that's the right word, but when you come to implement that and you're reaching out to people,
Yeah.
um, it it just means that you're not targeting anybody, as you're talking about those feelings, and either it resonates with somebody or it doesn't. And I suppose arguably that's no different from saying, are you a solicitor or not?
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like when you've talked about this, like this, trying to be very precise, you are able to be precise, but you don't think it's going to maybe, have the benefit you want.
Being precise on who the people are.
Mm.
I mean, I think there's the precision gives a method
Yeah.
to a implementation strategy.
Mm.
I'll start with solicitors, I'll move to accountants, and that sort of it gives
Yeah.
it a focus. Um, but I think, yeah, lost my thought.
Okay. Well, we'll pick it up a bit because I mean, what you're talking about here feel like two very different things. Like targeting businesses and business needs, but helping people have like their personal shifts and personal transformations. Um, can you do both, or at least can you present that you're doing both?
You can, and that's probably what a marketeer would say is about that. That is how you become specific.
Yeah. And where are you with that?
Taking an example of solicitors, because we were talking about that, if is that um, if there are 100 solicitors and you reach out to 100 solicitors, only 10 might respond, and of those, only one message might resonate with one. So it just means that yeah, you still got to always speak to lots of different. You've still got to, the effort is the same.
Yes.
I suppose that's why. I mean, yeah. I mean, does it help? I know there are more people in Tunbridge Wells than there are solicitor firms. You know, so um, and if somebody wants to refer you, they'll refer you.
So what I'm wondering is if you do choose a demographic, the way the marketers recommend, then what are you saying you're doing? What is the service that you're offering? I mean, are you going to be offering like this sort of personal transformation service? You're saying, I work with solicitors who want to shift their lives, or is it something different?
Um, so I think if it was a solicitor as an individual, it would be help shift their lives.
Yeah.
If it's a solicitor who's a an employer or who has responsibility for a team of
Mm,
people, then the challenge is has another layer on it, which is um, how can I make sure that my team is happy, that they're working together and communicating properly, that I'm instilling for them that they all have a good work-life balance and it doesn't impact the productivity and performance of the team. And how can I work with this hybrid challenge that goes on, and do all of that and still be profitable as a business.
okay. Okay.
So
So
there's that.
it's about the idea that the coach will support personal well-being to impact on business productivity.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
personal being, and yeah, I suppose in that is like life skills of communication and etc.
Yeah. And how clear do you think your messaging is around that at the moment?
That's something I haven't implemented yet. That's still in conceptual phases.
Okay. Okay. So it's a bit early for that. All right. Um, So, I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot of thinking, isn't there? The question that I've got coming up throughout today is I'm thinking about that the adjective that you add on before you describe yourself as a coach. I mean, because you'll know, right, when you go to these breakfast networking places, there's loads of coaches. There's often, or I think some of them have rules, don't they? You can only have one coach or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, some people call themselves business coaches, some leadership coaches, some life coaches, whatever. What's a word that you add on in front of your coach, if at all?
So in my chapter, I'm not the business coach
Mm.
because the business coach is a business coach. I'd potentially argue is a business mentor
Yeah,
than a business coach, but that's just semantics, as you know. Um, my category that I've been given is life coach,
yeah,
um, which I have some resistance and objection to, because I don't believe it's the same thing.
yeah.
Um, so I would describe myself normally or currently as a mindset, mindfulness, and mental fitness coach.
Okay.
Lots of M's.
Lots of M's. There's a lots of M's. Okay. So
And then people
mine's
go, what?
it's all good. It's all good. You teach what? And do they say to you, what sport's that then? That's what I normally
Not
do.
yet, no.
Not yet. Well, that kind. All right. So let's really look at this because that like how much work did it take you to come up with that? I mean, I know that these are things that you do, of course, but really getting attuned with that and coming up with those three adjectives, how much work did it take to decide those?
Oh, not that long actually, because I've had so many different iterations of these things
Right.
that yeah, not I don't an evolution to get to
Yes.
that.
Okay. Okay. And when you say it, how clear do you think it? Yeah, I mean, people might be a bit what because there's three words, but how clear do you think it is on what you're likely to be good at and likely to be doing to the average person out there?
Um, I don't think I think it sparks curiosity more than clarity.
Yeah,
It definitely sparks curiosity,
yeah,
which is good anyway, because then it means I can engage in a conversation.
yes. Okay. So I'm thinking, I'm sitting there around the table at the breakfast networking, and I'm sitting between the business coach or the business mentor, right? And then the mindset, mindfulness, and mental fitness coach. And I chat with you for 5 minutes, and I chat with you for 5 minutes. How will it feel different? How will those two conversations feel different?
So the business coach would say, well, what are your goals
Yeah,
and how much revenue do you want to make and how many clients will that be and blah, blah, blah. And I would say, okay, so what does it feel like to be successful in your business?
Yeah.
And um, what does who do you need to show up as a person for yourself, for your employees? How do you look after yourself in
Yeah.
your business?
Yes.
So the business guy would be the what do you need to do, and I would be the who do you need to be.
Okay. So the doing versus being. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not for me to evaluate at all, but doesn't this all sound like a niche? Doesn't it sound like, a style, a way of working that is massively different from matey over there?
Yeah. It's massively different,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it really.
And therefore potentially uncomfortable and unfamiliar for people
Yeah,
because they haven't experienced that before.
yeah. Okay. So that means what? They're not ready to embrace it. They need something before they can.
It generally means that I giving them an experience of what it's like to
Yeah.
be coached by me is one of the first steps
Yes.
on their journey.
Okay. Okay. And then what happens generally?
Generally speaking, they have money objections.
Okay. Okay. So that's another conversation, isn't
That's a
it?
whole different, yeah,
A whole other
yeah,
conversation. Okay.
yeah.
So I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and I'm hearing you describe really well what you do, who you do it for, how it's different to what other types of coaches do. Um, and I'm wondering what is stopping you from saying this is my niche, this is how I work, and
Yeah,
then worrying a bit later on about the who it is that I focus on.
yeah. I mean, and that's exactly what I did in my meeting today. Yeah.
And
I mean, everybody listened in half a minute. And
yeah,
so I don't know. But maybe it gave them more clarity. Yeah.
and for you, because what you wanted something that respected you, like your if you like your integrity as a coach, wanting to do this important work, but also the potential commercial outcomes for it. Where does this sit now?
Um, it helps. I suppose it gives me more confidence that it's okay to say to be less tangible and to talk about feelings, going from this feeling to that feeling, because
Yes.
I do think that in some respects that is relatable.
Hmm.
Um, I suppose the element that's missing is a B2C versus a B2B type approach.
Okay. And is that something you can work on?
Yes, because in my head it's kind of almost like got a few boxes prepared, and depending on how the conversation with somebody goes and what they're interested in, I just pull a certain proposition into view.
Yes. Okay. So we've been talking about this for about 35 minutes and we were on 6 and headless chicken, and you wanted to shift to 8 and something that you could carry on mulling over when you're away with the kids. Where are you at now with this?
Maybe a 7.
Okay. So what shifted? What shifted in this last 35 minutes?
The confidence to be okay with um, not having to be as specific around the sociodemographics of what this person looks like.
Okay. Okay. So more, less focusing on the who, more focusing on the bit, the what and the how.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. So let's reflect then perhaps some steps, some things that you want to take because yeah, well, we've got halfway where you wanted to get to, right? We've got from 6 to 7.
Yeah.
You were aiming at 8 and plus. So what ongoing reflections do you want to do now over this next little while?
So I think one is to very clearly articulate all these pain points and where they people can go to. So I'm
Mm.
using the right language for that. But maybe to work on the business owner that has employees aspect, that they've got that additional layer, that maybe they have to think about their team and their bottom line,
Yes.
and the solution I offer could be as bottom line effective as a business coach.
Yes. So that again, the solution could be as bottom line effective as a business coach.
So a business coach might help you come up with a strategy of what you need to do that would help you be more profitable,
Yeah.
whereas my approach would help your employees communicate better, work and be more productive and efficient. And because of that, the bottom line is better. You're more
Okay.
profitable.
Okay. So a different way to get to that output. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what specific things do you think you're going to do to carry on refining this message, working it out over the forthcoming time?
Um, I think it would be useful to create some different avatars, actually, 2 or 3 different avatars of target ideal clients, and to articulate those their needs, and then what proposition could meet those needs.
Okay. Okay. So you're identifying a different benefit. You're saying there's some different avatars that you could do. How are you going to measure, whether these steps are going to be helpful for you?
I can test them out with people,
Mm.
ask for their thoughts and reflections on them.
And as we come towards the end, how much energy have you got? Like, how much energy has what you talked about today given you to carry on progressing this?
Well, I suspect after my holiday, I'll have a whole lot more energy. These are hard things to do and to
Yeah.
keep doing, and it's a constant refinement.
Yes.
And there is no magic bullet, and there is no quick win. So I'm excited to try the a more B2B approach.
Yeah.
So I definitely have energy for that, and I want to make the networking work, because the way that networking is set up, there are measures in place
Yeah.
for me to know
Yeah.
exactly how much revenue I'm getting from it,
Yes.
which is a really big plus, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really helpful, isn't it? Fab. Well, thank you, Claire. And I do appreciate. I think you're right. There is no magic bullet with this, and it takes hard work. And clearly, you are doing hard work, and I've sort of pushed you to do quite hard work today. So thank you for doing all of that. How do you feel as we get to the end of this?
Good. It's always really helpful to talk to somebody, and to explore those ideas, because it's much easier to do it with somebody than to do it on your own, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, you're right. The churn of it all. Well, fab. Well, listen,
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it goes well, and I hope that this
Yeah.
evolution leads you to where you want to get to. And and I admire your spirit. I think that lots of coaches go through this, and we all struggle in one way or another. And you're keeping going, which is great to see. So good luck with it, and we'll chat about it more next time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.